Oh, that looks so beautiful.
Here's the parsley. So any way you want to serve it, it's really good taste. Okay.
Here it is. You want to cut the stem off, discard it, or you can save it to use it for flavor soups.
With your mom, and they're very thin. Now they have a tendency to use those in a salad.
Correct.
Hi, and welcome to Cooking for All Seasons. And today we have Emily from Del Fresh Produce. And she's brought with her
The mushroom farm.
mushrooms. And this is a mushroom farm in Morgan Hill. Now there's a few different mushroom farms in Morgan Hill, right, Emily?
Actually, yes. There's 7 mushroom farms located throughout Santa Clara County.
Yes, and you are one of many.
One of 7.
One of 7.
Yes.
And you represent the one over in Morgan Hill
Off of Watsonville Road.
Watsonville Road.
Yes.
And I went there.
Oh, good, good.
And I have to tell you, first of all, it doesn't smell like you think it smells, because I know we're all local.
That's
This
right.
is a local show, so I know. I probably have to say that 99% of the people that live in this area have experienced the
Aroma.
fragrance of
Yes.
the mushroom farms, and I can honestly say it does not smell like that. And I mean, it really does smell good.
It does.
I mean, it smells very good. Now, these are, you guys, you're in my home. This is my kitchen. And you can't tell that these are mushroom rugs.
Right. You can actually
that are in my home.
take a whiff.
And you can't even, I mean, if anything, it smells very fresh in here. It really does. So what I want you to do is, actually, first of all, tell us why we're doing this show. Is because what?
Well,
September is
National Mushroom Month, and it's proclaimed every year by the United States Department of Agriculture. So we try and create a little bit of buzz every year, and September is National Mushroom Month, so we're here on the show to promote eating more mushrooms.
Okay. And what I want you to do is, there's like a lot of information about
There is.
mushrooms that I don't think that the people really understand. I mean, a lot of people buy mushrooms, a lot of people eat mushrooms, and especially around here, because we have so much produce around here,
Right.
and we have the ability to have such, gather such fresh things around here. So
Well, with
I'm going to let you go ahead and give us some information about it.
Well, with 7 farms located in Santa Clara County, we actually employ over 500 people locally. And did you know that the mushrooms are the #2 highest grossing cash crop in Santa Clara County? So last year we grossed over $58 million. So that smell or that aroma in the air is the smell of money, because of all the money that it's bringing to our county. That's how I like to look at it. So
Well, I guess for the people that it's making money for, I guess they can endure the smell. But for those people who are not gaining all those funds into their checking accounts,
but it's helping the overall economy.
well, I guess
So,
it helps
yeah,
everybody.
It
And
does.
it gives people jobs, and it really does employ a lot of people around
Yes,
here.
and along with the Mushroom Mardi Gras that's held every Memorial Day weekend. So we'll
Oh, that was good. That was good. We enjoyed that. Okay, so give us an idea of what goes into growing mushrooms. I mean, they're so cute. They look like little people popping up out of the soil. So give us an idea.
Yeah, actually the unique thing about mushrooms is that you can't drive by a field of mushrooms and see it from your car.
And that was one reason why I thought this was a great idea to bring you on and to actually show people, because around here we smell them.
Yes.
But we can't see them. So
Right,
now we
right.
can see them, and they're in my house.
Right.
And I can smell them, and they smell perfectly clean. So, okay, go ahead.
Well, yes, because mushrooms are not grown in ordinary soil. Mushrooms are grown in compost. And here in California, mushrooms are commercially grown year-round in climate-controlled buildings. And pasteurized compost is the growing medium.
That's that stuff that you see with this.
Yes. So the unique thing about compost is that it's made with agricultural waste products that by themselves really wouldn't be worth anything, but together and combined make up a viable, nutrient-rich growing medium for the mushrooms. And some of the unique things that go into compost is at our farm we use wheat straw, dry poultry waste, cottonseed meals, cottonseed hulls, urea, and gypsum. And then water is added to the mix, and it's turned daily by specialized equipment, and it takes about 4 weeks for the compost to be ready.
Well, I know that some people, I mean, I know that because a lot of people in this area, and because we're such a farming area in this area, a lot of people do their own compost.
Yes.
And a lot of people have their compost bins, and they really do. They put all their eggs
waste.
and waste and stuff. And
actually,
I don't do that,
the Master Compost, there's a program, Master Composters Garden.
yeah.
There's a program that you could take to learn how to make your own compost at
Well,
home.
my friends do that, and they, they put all their stuff in their plastic bags, and they move it out to the outside, and they do the whole thing and everything. So, I mean, it's kind of like the same thing.
Right. So when the compost is ready, it's brought into the mushroom farm, and it is pasteurized. And so what we're doing is that prior to planting the crop, we're ensuring that the compost has been pasteurized to eradicate any harmful organisms and promote beneficial proteins to grow.
So pasteurizing, let me stop you right here. Pasteurizing meaning that the temperature is brought up
To 160 degrees.
Okay, meaning the same thing, pasteurizing, just like you would pasteurize milk. So it's the same kind of process. So now remember that milk that you smell outside has now been pasteurized just the same way as the milk that you feed your children. So don't worry about it anymore. Okay?
Right.
Okay.
And then once it's been pasteurized, we take mushroom spawn, which is the mushroom seed that we purchase from certified laboratories. And so we plant that into the compost cake. And so what we do is that we've created an environment specifically for these mushrooms to grow in, and we've also taken steps to ensure that we're not going to get a poisonous mushroom, because sometimes that's a misconception. People think that they might be eating a poisonous mushrooms, but actually the safest mushrooms you can eat are the ones that you buy at your local grocery store or at our mushroom farm on Watsonville Road, or any mushroom farm for
That's
that
a
matter.
great place to buy mushrooms. We'll talk about that later, but it is a great place.
Right. So once the compost cake has been inoculated with the mushroom spawn, we add a layer of peat moss that's mixed with limestone. So again, another misconception is that people think that mushrooms are grown in cow manure or some sort of manure. But actually, what you see, any type of dirt you might see on the mushroom, is actually the layer of peat moss, because the mushrooms are growing through and pressing through that peat moss.
Yeah, they're growing through, and when I was there, they kind of come through because they're looking for oxygen, right?
Exactly.
I remembered that. It's so interesting. I mean, it's just, it really was amazing. It really, and you go into all these different rooms, and they're all at different sort of stages, and you see these little things popping through. It's very, very interesting.
Which actually is, as you see here, maybe I'll use this to kind of help out. You see here is the mushroom culture, or the mushroom mycelium, that has colonized this compost cake. And so it slowly migrates up to the top, and then we add the layer of peat moss to finish the growing process. So even here you could see the small little heads are actually the next crop of mushrooms that are going to be coming through. So per planting we actually get 3 harvests, or 3 crops. From each planting of mushrooms.
What Emily means is that, so it pops up, and then somebody
we'll harvest
comes along
through and harvest these off.
Picks them off and sorts them.
They're
And
sorted
I
by
saw
size.
that. That's cool. And then they go back in. Do they put some more stuff over it?
No, they just keep watering.
They
daily.
watering. I saw them. And there's this man in there, and he waters. But there's there's this dance when they water them. They just, it's a technique. I mean, there's not some guy sitting there with the hose and just, I mean, it's just this real sprinkle, you know. I mean, it's very delicate. It is. And then some more pop up in the next couple of weeks, and then somebody comes in and harvests, and then they sprinkle some more, and then another one comes up, and then they sort of dump that, and they don't use it again.
Right. It's not beneficial or cost effective for us to try to keep growing mushrooms out of this compost layer. So actually, the compost gets sterilized, and then it gets put into our piles outside, and we have landscape companies that come and haul it away to use in their soil mixes.
In your garden, they could actually reuse this.
Yes.
For something else to grow in.
Exactly.
Other than maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe.
Right. If a mushroom does grow in your backyard, unless you are a certified mushroom gatherer, I would recommend not to eat it.
You know, we're not. Don't touch anything in your garden to eat. No. Only eat the things that you buy in the supermarket or at the mushroom
local farm. And it actually takes 10 weeks from the start of compost till the first crop is ready to be harvested. And everything is harvested by hand, so it's a very labor-intensive operation. And when the mushrooms are harvested, actually they just take and just pull it off, and then they take their knife and then just cut the stem off, and then they're sorted by size.
Yeah, it was really cool when I came, and they were like, there's, you know, all the machinery and all the people are in there, and they're sorting all the mushrooms. And not only that, but they actually slice mushrooms for some of the pizza accounts and stuff like that. And they have those in there and everything. It's very interesting.
Well, did you know that mushrooms are the #2 most requested pizza topping?
My favorite.
Pepperoni is #1, but mushrooms are #2.
Mushrooms are my favorite. Actually, mushrooms. No, they really are. I really enjoy the mushroom topping. So we're going to make some sauce now.
Okay.
And then as we're making the sauce, let's talk about some ways of how to clean mushrooms, you've got some slicing information, how to store some. So we're going to make a mushroom sauce here. Let's get this going with some. First, we're going to start off with some butter, of course. Butter and mushrooms. It's just like, they're definitely, that's definitely a marriage.
It is.
And so we're going to start off with just a little bit of butter. And, well, we have like about 1.5 pounds of mushrooms, so you need some butter. So don't, I know the camera guy is laughing at me. He's going, like when I plop the big thing of butter in there. So how long have you worked at the mushroom farm?
I've actually worked there for 9.5 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, you really do know a lot about mushrooms. I know they should be very proud of you because you really, I mean, I love mushrooms, and one of the things, let's talk about one of the things about mushrooms, and one of the things that I know a lot of people don't understand are creminis, and then portabellinis, and portabellas. They're all the same mushroom, guys. They're just different sizes.
Exactly.
And so Emily's going to explain this to you.
And so I brought some here from the farm, and this is still actually growing, of course, in the compost cake. And so a little known fact is that a cremini or Italian brown is actually a baby portabella. So as the harvesters go through, they will thin out the brown mushrooms to allow room for the portabella, for the caps to mature into a portabella mushroom. And so sometimes when you're seeing a portabella, sometimes they're kind of intimidating and impressive in size and maybe a little intimidating to the consumer. So actually the anatomy is you have your cap, your stem, and the gills or the underside here. And so what you want to do to prepare this is you want to cut the stem off, and you can discard it or you could save it to use it to flavor soups or stews. And then you want to grill this or fry this. The gills will secrete a brown juice. So you can just leave them on, or if you're making a real delicate dish like a risotto or something, you could scrape them out. But a portobello cap has only 40 calories, and they are virtually free of fat, cholesterol, and sodium.
Shallots. These are putting in shallots. So we're just putting in some shallots. Well, okay, so now everybody understands that it's all the same. They're just different size. And the other thing about the creminis, the smaller size, is that they are they're very meaty. So let's talk about the comparison between the creminis and the whites.
The white mushrooms have a mild earthy flavor compared to the cremini mushroom, which will have a deeper, denser, richer flavor. And you can actually substitute creminis for white mushrooms in any recipe.
Yeah. And the vegetarians use a lot of creminis and stuff because
actually they use a lot of portobellas because the portobello does have a meat-like texture. Now, not to be confused, it does not have the same nutritional value as beef, but a lot of people like it because it does have the texture. Now, the nutritional value in white button mushrooms is that a serving of 5 medium white mushrooms actually has 20 calories. And mushrooms are high in riboflavin, potassium, and selenium.
Oh, potassium, really?
Potassium, high in potassium. And also selenium we've done a lot of research, and it's a very powerful antioxidant. So mushrooms are high in selenium.
Okay, so now what we've done is we got the shallots and a little bit of butter. Well, no, not a little bit, but it's okay. We have like 1.5 pounds of mushrooms here. And what I did, they're just sliced. And we have about 1/2 of white and 1/2 of cremini. Those brown ones. And actually, I think we had a couple of, no, these are just cremini. But you can, in this recipe, whatever you have. And don't worry about how to cut them. Just cut them up, right?
Right.
I don't think I would slice them really thin, though, because when they get really thin,
mushrooms do shrink down.
They are already going to shrink. So then we're just going to turn the heat up real high.
So let's talk a little bit about storing and cleaning.
Okay.
And so mushrooms are highly perishable. So when you get them home, the best thing to do if you buy in bulk is...
Okay, so wait a minute. So what, wait a minute.
Oh, yes.
Wait a minute. They come, just a second. I'm sitting down, you guys. A lot of times, I know I got my back. Here. A lot of times they come in those.
And they come in a pre-packed 8-ounce tray.
Sometimes, unless you
buy in bulk or if you buy in package. And they're wrapped up in film, and actually the film does have perforated holes in there to allow the mushroom to breathe. So you can keep them in their containers in the refrigerator until you're ready to use them. But if you buy them in bulk, you do want to put them in a brown paper bag because this allows the mushroom to breathe. You want to avoid any type of airtight containers because it'll just speed up the spoilage of the mushrooms. And a shelf life for a white button mushroom is actually 5 to 7 days. For a brown mushroom portobello is 7 to 10 days.
Oh, really? Because
yes.
they're a little meatier.
Yes, they are. And now, when you buy mushrooms, a freshly harvested mushroom will have a closed veil, which means that the mushroom cap is still attached to the stem. So if you were to buy them and the veil has pulled away from the stem, all that means is it's lost a little bit of its moisture. And so, but actually it intensifies the flavor and gives it more of a richer flavor. So if it's been opened, you could probably use it, and it will also secrete less water when you cook them. So it depends. If you want to use them fresh, put them in a slice up for a salad, or if you want to put them in a saute or for pizza.
Well, that's actually a question, is because I actually buy. I go to Watsonville Road, and when I buy a lot of mushrooms, and I buy what they call opens. Because I like the opens.
Right. And it's actually a mature mushroom is what it's also called.
And the flavor is much more intense, and they do give off less moisture.
Right. And most of our pizza accounts do request the mature mushroom. Because of that, when it's cooking, you don't want a watery pizza.
Ah, okay, you guys, there's the answer to your problem. When you guys make homemade pizzas at home, go over to the mushroom farm
and ask for the opens or
get
the mature.
some of the opens that are the more mature ones, because those are going to be the ones that are going to give you the less water on your pizzas. And you know how you guys, when you put the, you know, and then you go like this and then you get this puddle? The other thing that I do is slicing the mushrooms real thin and putting a little bit of olive oil on top. That kind of heats the oil gets hot and sort of kind of like fries the mushrooms on top of the pizza. Now, that's just sort of an extra little idea. But you guys can see what I've done is turned the heat up real high on this, and you can see the moisture is escaping. And the other thing is, don't salt your mushrooms before you cook them, okay? I mean, while they're cooking like this. Hold the salt out until you've cooked them, until they've browned. That way, you eliminate getting all that water out too fast. Okay.
So right when you're ready to use your mushrooms, you want to clean them off first. So.
Okay, this is probably, if you watch some of the other, if you watch Food Network or some Food TV or other food shows, there's a gazillion different, every cook will tell you, water, no water, brush it off, don't worry about it, ooh, it's got the dirt on it, ooh, it doesn't have the dirt. Okay, so we're going to give you, this is the woman who's going to tell us how to do it.
Our Mushroom Council recommends washing or rinsing the mushrooms just prior to using them.
So it's not going to absorb 10 tons of water.
No, you don't want to let the mushrooms sit in water, because then it will start absorbing some sort of a little bit of the liquid. But there's different ways you can clean them. If you have a little brush, you can kind of brush off the peat moss particles, or if you have a damp paper towel, you can kind of just brush them off. Or just run them, put them in a colander and just run them under the water in the sink, and you can just kind of pat them dry or just shake it off and put it into your recipe.
But that little tiny bit of dirt
or
is
peat
not
moss
going to kill you. Remember, we talked about this. It's been pasteurized, 160 degrees. It's not going to, you're not going to get sick. Brush it off. Run it under the water a second. Sometimes it just kind of depends. Sometimes I brush them off. Sometimes it just depends. Nobody's ever gotten sick in my house or anything. So.
Neither in mine, thank God. Okay, so when you're ready to use them, brush them off, clean them off, and then if you want to get the kids involved in cooking, here's this egg slicer, or I like to call mushroom slicer, and you just put your mushroom in there and just cut it.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, technical difficulties here, but
there you go.
And it comes up with perfectly
sliced
look at
that. That's kind of
mushrooms.
cool, like if you want to be hoity-toity on your salad and you want it to look really cool and everything.
But actually, you can slice them fairly quickly if they're a little bit smaller, and then just put them into your saute.
Oh, there they go. All right, then. Okay, so now we've got we've got the mushrooms in, and then don't worry about that. Okay. Now got that. Now we're gonna put a little bit of thyme in here, and then don't worry about getting. I know a lot of chefs say, oh, you have to use fresh thyme. You have to use. Sometimes if you grow those ingredients, those herbs, fine. If you don't worry about getting the fresh stuff. Fresh thyme is very nice. The dried thyme is just as good.
Actually, it smells delicious.
Yeah, it really does. Some of the, if you're going to use the thyme, you know, the fresh stuff, and you're gonna use it all fine. If you're not, don't worry, use the dried stuff. Now, the only thing we're gonna do is we're going to put in, and in here I have I have some garlic. You have to be careful with the garlic because you don't want to burn it.
Burn it, yes.
You know. And now I actually in here, I'm not trying to be sneaky. I just squeezed the garlic before. It's you don't want to burn the garlic. You'll ruin it. And I mean, really, we live in. This is a match made in heaven.
That's right. And
garlic and mushrooms are really kind of
a perfect partner.
A perfect partner, and since we live in this area, we really have the best of both worlds, really.
And that is the nice thing about the agricultural community here in Santa Clara County is we really like to help each other out and promote and do some cross promotions with each other's products, especially with our Farm Bureau and the different organizations here. Yeah.
Well, I really hope that everybody has, you know, seen everything. You know what? I'm gonna just go. Oh, where is it? I'm looking for. What did I do with it?
What are you looking for?
Some nutmeg.
Oh.
I'm going to. Okay. Who moved the nutmeg?
I'll go ahead and stir while you're doing a search.
All right. She's stirring the mushrooms. I'm going to turn this down. We're going to put a few little pepper flakes in here. Doesn't that smell good?
It does. Very delicious.
How could it not smell good?
And also had these mushrooms secreted a lot of water while you're cooking. Just kind of be patient, and the water will eventually evaporate.
It just eventually kind of.
Yes, we'll absorb it.
Okay, I'm looking, and you guys do realize that I am in my own kitchen, so I'm going to walk over here, and I've found the nutmeg. So, I know nutmeg's not something that normally everybody has, but I have this thing about putting nutmeg in things. So, I don't know if you guys can see in here. See a little nutmeg?
Yeah, you actually have the whole nutmeg in there.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, there's a big difference between fresh nutmeg and
the powdered that you buy.
Oh yeah, there's such a world of difference, and they're so inexpensive. All you need to do is go to, I don't know, to Trader Joe's sometimes has it, and
actually I think your regular grocery store do have the
they have a little tiny one,
nutmegs.
just a nutmeg. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're going to put in some cream.
Oh, yum.
So, well, I just think that this has been like so interesting for everybody because the whole idea of having so many different farms around here.
Yes.
And it's I mean, we all see the corn growing, we all see the zucchini, we all see the garlic,
right.
We all see the peppers and the tomatoes growing, but we smell the mushrooms, but we don't get to see the mushrooms. Right. And now we get to see them.
And because the mushrooms don't have any chlorophyll, they don't need sunlight to grow in. So they are grown indoors in growing houses or growing rooms that are temperature controlled, and so we can grow them year round. And technically they are grown in the dark because they don't need any light, so we just bring the lights in when we go into harvest.
So they're kind of, really, in a way, they're very economical.
In some ways.
In that respect.
In that respect, yes.
To grow.
But all the rooms are temperature controlled because we have to have the right temperatures for them.
Yeah. Well, so we make up what we made up in sunlight or light. We've taken away in temperature. So, you guys, now how does that look?
Oh, it looks so good.
Can you guys see that? So, I just, I really have to appreciate you coming today, Emily, and
thank you for having me.
All these really good things, because I know that people don't, really understand everything about mushrooms. I know, finding out about ways to store them, the different myths about, how to clean them, and what our noses perceive things to be, and what they and really what they really are is really a difference.
Right.
And especially kids too. And I think this is a real good thing for kids to see, because they really don't understand.
No.
I think a lot of children eat mushrooms. What would you say? I know I'm sure you.
My son does. Yes.
Your son does.
My son loves mushrooms. I've noticed kids can be picky eaters. And some adults too. They either really like mushrooms or they really don't. So there's no in between.
They sometimes have a spongy sort of texture to them if they aren't, at first, and so people are kind of a little bit.
True, and there are very many varieties out there, but commercially grown mushrooms in California, at all the farms, we grow these two varieties. We grow the white button mushrooms.
Because there are, nowadays there's like these incredible, I think the other day I was in this place up in Berkeley called the Berkeley Bowl, and they had these lobster mushrooms.
Yes.
And they're just incredible, but they're like $25 a pound, and I was like, I'm sure, at these really fine restaurants, they could figure out what to do with them. I, on the other hand, wasn't sure what to do with them.
Right.
I don't know if I don't know what they taste like. I've had some of the enoki ones. Those are really good. I'm sure a lot of people have seen those. They're kind of neat. They kind of come in like in a little cluster.
Yes, and they're
long and thin.
Little heads.
Thing on the heads. They kind of look like these on the heads, but they're long and very thin. Now they have a tendency to use those in a salad a lot.
Correct.
And they're very good.
And you also find shiitake and oyster mushrooms at your local grocery store. But some of your more exotic mushrooms, you do have to go to the Whole Foods or Cosentino's, Trader Joe's to get those.
Okay, I gotta taste this. Okay, here we go. Okay, now we're going to put in, go ahead.
Oh.
It's hot.
Okay. Oh, it's delicious.
Yeah?
Oh.
Okay.
Go ahead.
These are some fresh tomatoes that I got at LJB Farms.
Okay.
There's some Italian tomatoes. And the thing about these tomatoes are that they're real meaty. They're not real, they don't have a lot of juice to them, if you can see that. So in this recipe that I gave you, I don't know, that you might not be able to find them, so I probably would say use a Roma tomato and seed it, but you can tell they're not really bleeding out very much. But they're,
and I'm assuming if you have your own tomatoes growing in your garden, you can kind of squeeze out the juice and then chop it up.
For any kind, it wouldn't make any difference. This is just fresh stuff. So you use what you have. So then we're going to do this.
And then also I want to let everyone know that this recipe will be available on our website. And so our website is www.delfresh.com.
And then we're going to put some pasta in here. Any kind of pasta. I happen to cook. I like this one. I thought it was cute.
It's kind of cute. Yeah, that is cute. Oh, it'd be great for kids too.
Yeah. Squirrely looking. So let's see how that does. Doesn't that look good?
Yes, it does.
Looks kind of pretty. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece of, now, for a vegetarian, I haven't used any thing other than the butter. Sorry.
But yet we could still use, prior to putting the pasta in, you could still use this and serve it over chicken or over beef.
Yeah, in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, you could use it for a sauce, for anything. I'm going to turn this up a little bit. You could put it over anything. I'm going to put a piece of chicken on it, but what I was going to say is, if you wanted to make it like a totally vegetarian, well, I know you could you could eliminate the butter. You could probably just use olive oil if
true.
you wanted to. If you didn't want to use the butter. If you were trying to be real conscious, however, but we used cream. It's whipping cream, so I really don't think that's going to work. But if that's where you needed to be,
true.
You could do that.
Probably, I don't know, soy milk. I don't know how soy milk would work.
You know, you could. I don't
experiment.
You know, I think just in the whole scheme of things, you could try it. I don't think. I don't know. I don't know who uses it. Do you use soy milk?
No, I don't.
I don't use soy milk. I have friends that use soy milk, and I think if your diet calls for it, I think you could try it. Let's see here. Let's. I won't dip your spoon in there, because we have people watching, but. But this is a family show, and I don't want the children to think that we don't.
Yes, food safety is high priority.
Try to be at least a little bit. Don't burn yourself though.
That is delicious.
Okay. Have enough tomatoes in there?
Yes.
Because I mean, you could just kind of adjust this to whatever your family likes. I
Exactly.
mean, if you like more tomatoes or less tomatoes or whatever, I mean, it's just kind of up to you. Okay.
Yeah, I think the thing that I'm here to do or to promote is to obviously eat more mushrooms, and to next time you're at the store, take a look at the mushroom display and see what's there, and to take a package home with you and experiment. And sometimes people forget that, oh, some sauteed mushrooms would go great over this steak or with this chicken or something, and to try this recipe, and we have other recipes also on our website too.
I mean, I honestly mean this. Sometimes, and this is not, I'm not just saying this because, well, Emily's here and she is from the mushroom place, so now would be the time to say this. But sometimes, and I'll move it up here once I get the chicken on it. Sometimes I honestly crave mushrooms. I know that sounds really funny, but I don't know what it is. There is something about mushrooms that I just crave. Is there something in mushrooms that one would just
No, other than,
crave?
They are high in potassium, riboflavin, and
Maybe.
selenium. So, and sometimes you just have that craving that mushrooms go well with a certain dish. And you probably want to have that.
I forgot to put this in. So I'm putting the this is the basil. So we're putting the basil in here. So here's the basil. And here's the chicken.
Oh, that looks so beautiful.
And here's the parsley. So any way you want to serve it. Chopped up
delicious.
inside of it, on it, in it, around it. Can you guys see it? And then, oh, wait, we forgot something.
Oh, the Parmesan cheese.
To have the cheese, just 50 more calories. Okay?
Oh, it smells delicious.
And then we've got it. So any way you guys want to do it, any way you guys want to do it, any way you want to put it together, leave it out, put it in. It's however your family likes it. That's the most important part. But I just want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, really. This is great. This is great information. I hope you all understand about mushrooms now. Let's do it one more time. These are...
We have the Italian brown or cremini mushrooms. These are like your portobellini, which you can use to stuff anything in. And then these are your portobello mushrooms.
And they can get really big, guys. And they're all, once they get past this size, they're portobellos, okay? These are your whites. If they get a little dirt on them, don't worry about them, brush it off. It's all been sterilized. It's okay. Is there any other myths that we can
No,
conquer?
I think we hit just about all of them.
Okay. I want to thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. This is Cooking for All Seasons, and we'll see you again. Remember, September is Mushroom Month.
National Mushroom
National Month. Mushroom Month. September is National Mushroom Month. Thank you. We'll see you again. She looked like a Swiss maid in this red dress and these popping out, and she was making, oh sorry, I'm ready. Oh. Hi. Are we rolling? Okay, like you're gonna have to cut that one. Okay. Hi. Good afternoon. Oh, cut it. Never mind. Forget it. Okay. Hi. Never mind. Hi. Good afternoon. Never mind. Yeah. Could we do that though? Can we make sure we have sound? Okay. Was that all right? Was that a half an hour? See?
And you were worried about
You were worried about the bladder? What? What did you? You got it on?
what?
You got it on.
What are you talking about?
You got it. Oh, wait a minute. You got it on. I want one picture.
Okay, thank you.
The little pillows.
Yeah. That's good. I need something for the end, and you just helped me out.